You never imagined your later years would look quite like this, did you? You gave everything, time, energy, love, raising your children. You made sacrifices without hesitation. You believed that when the time came, they'd be there for you, just as you were there for them. But things feel different now. They have their own homes, families, careers, and worries. You tell yourself, that's just how life goes. But deep down, it hurts. You wonder, did I do something wrong? Am I asking for too much? Most of us don't want to face this hard truth. The closeness you once shared won't magically return just because you move closer to your kids. In fact, doing so might have the opposite effect. Instead of feeling connected, you may feel lonelier than ever. But here's the empowering part. You don't have to live in disappointment. You can create a fulfilling, independent, deeply meaningful life without placing unrealistic expectations on your children. How? By understanding the realities of aging, family dynamics, and, most importantly, human nature. And that's where ancient wisdom, especially Stoic philosophy, becomes your ally. The Stoics understood something we often forget. No one, not even your children, should be in charge of your happiness. So let's talk honestly. Why moving closer to your kids later in life can actually become one of the worst decisions you make. And more importantly, what you should do instead. 1. The illusion of closeness. Why physical proximity doesn't guarantee emotional connection. Many parents dream of retiring near their adult children, imagining weekend dinners, spontaneous visits, grandchildren playing in the yard. It feels natural. Comforting. But the reality? Your children are adults now, with lives filled to the brim, work deadlines, bills, parenting, emotional fatigue. The time they once gave you is now shared across endless demands. Being physically close doesn't mean you're emotionally close. In fact, it often leads to unspoken expectations, which in turn lead to disappointment, tension, even resentment. 2. Living nearby doesn't guarantee love or attention. If you expect constant involvement, you may feel invisible when it doesn't come. But this isn't abandonment. It's life moving forward. Remember when you were younger? You created your own world. You moved away, started a family, built an identity. Your children are doing the same. Stoicism reminds us of this tough but essential truth. Your children's world no longer centers around you. And that's not only natural, it's necessary. Your happiness has to come from within. Not from how often your phone rings or how many times they visit. When you release the belief that closeness equals connection, you also release disappointment. And in that freedom, something unexpected arises, peace. 3. Becoming a burden, without meaning to. No parent wants to be a burden. But aging brings challenges, doctor visits, household maintenance, mobility issues, financial strain. You begin asking your children for small favors. Then more. Over time, those unspoken needs become ongoing expectations. They love you, but they're also overwhelmed. They're juggling careers, marriages, kids, bills. And when your needs weigh on them, a quiet resentment can grow. Not from lack of love, but from emotional overload. You didn't raise your children to become your caretakers. You raised them to be independent. So why reverse that lesson now? A Stoic accepts aging for what it is, an invitation to prepare. Dignity doesn't come from dependency, it comes from self-sufficiency. That means making emotional, financial, and physical plans for your future, so your well-being isn't your children's responsibility. That's real love. That's wisdom. That's freedom. 4. Losing your independence. The quiet death of the spirit. Living too close to your children often tempts you to dissolve into their lives. You stop making new friends. You abandon your own passions. You trade your identity for proximity. And over time, you forget what it's like to live for yourself. But as the Stoics taught, peace doesn't come from others. It comes from living in alignment with your own purpose. 5. So what's the alternative? How should you live instead? Should you isolate yourself? Cut ties with your children? Of course not. The answer is balance. Create a full, rich life of your own. Don't rely on your kids, but do enjoy them. Treasure the moments you spend together, but don't make them your only source of joy. Keep your own space. Your hobbies. Your purpose. That's what keeps you vibrant. Alive. And surprisingly, it draws your children closer, not further. 6. The power of letting go. Freedom is the greatest gift you can give your children, and yourself. Freedom from guilt. Freedom from obligation. Freedom from expectation. When you build a life you love, your visits become joyful instead of dutiful. Your children visit because they want to, not because they should. And that shifts everything. You reclaim your self-worth, your inner stillness, your joy. 7. Emotional dependence, the invisible danger. There's something even more harmful than physical dependence: emotional reliance. Many parents quietly expect their children to fill an emotional void: daily calls, frequent visits, constant validation. And when that doesn't happen, they feel abandoned, hurt, even bitter. But your children are not responsible for your emotional well-being. They have their own emotional needs to navigate. If you make them feel like they're failing you just by living their lives, it will only push them further away. What the Stoics taught, and what modern spiritual guides like Sadhguru echo, is this: emotional strength is an inside job. Relationships should be built on freedom, not guilt. On joy, not duty. When you're content with your own life, your children naturally want to be part of it. Not out of pressure, but from love. 8. Letting go is the highest form of love. Your job as a parent was always to prepare your children for independence. But here's the twist. You must also prepare yourself for a life without depending on them. True love isn't holding on. It's knowing when to release. That doesn't mean losing them. It means gaining yourself. And in doing so, you offer each other the most valuable gift of all: freedom. So what's the takeaway? Live your life. Fully. Proudly. Without guilt. Moving closer to your children might feel comforting in theory. But too often, it leads to hurt feelings, unmet expectations, and emotional distance. Your children are not your retirement plan. They are not your emotional crutch. Their lives are their own, just as yours must be. The Stoics said it best. Happiness isn't found in other people. It's built from within. So take the time to build yours. Not around your children, but around your passions, your wisdom, your independence. Because that's not just aging gracefully. That's aging powerfully.